Groaners, here with you once again, although a bit later than expected. It's not Friday, it's Saturday. That's my fault entirely. We jump into the blackness together once again. That is the Groan Zone. The creative juices of your host have once again delivered with a brand new game. More on that very soon. Let's push episode 131 down a hill and watch it crash into the bump that is my groans to start us off. Out of stock. So you've driven a fair whack and Google Maps recommends you a pub that does amazing fish and chips. You get there only to be told they've got none left. Gut-wrenching and heartbroken. There is nothing worse than when you get somewhere, you're looking forward to something and they've ran out. Not their fault, but still, it's like a punch to the gut. Falling asleep through films. We've all done this. I've done this. A fair few times, I might add. But the annoying thing is, I often fall asleep at the same point of the movie if it's on late. It doesn't matter how loud it is, it could be a gunfight, a space battle, I still conk out and fall asleep. Body, would you please let me watch the film? Please. Overdressing for going on a walk. I don't know about you groaners, but say you were going on a walk. Guys, I imagine you'd wear sensible clothing, and girls, you'd obviously do the same. Why is it though that the TikTok generation either underdress or overdress for going on a 3-mile walk to a waterfall? You've no need for the Oompa Loompa tan, that's orange for the homies at home, or to look like you've just stepped out of a bloody expensive clothing boutique. Dress normally, for crying out loud. That's my guns laid out, broken into, groany bits all over the floor. If you hang on for more, there's Audience Groan to come on later. But away from the groans, and let's go on with a new game called Don't Quote Me on That. I will also mention out now, groaners, it's a bit late on a Saturday, so there are no groaners listening live. But that doesn't deviate from the new game called Don't Quote Me on That. Well, groaners, this is our new game which will balance the games up so we have 4 every week. Alternating games, that is. The premise of this game is the following. 3 rounds, 3 points. Groaners playing live can only guess after the 3 facts and the quote. Groaners playing at home, that's not live. Call out as you wish. However, you don't get extra points for calling out the film name early. All I want is the name of the film the quote is from. When you're listening live, you'll hear me speaking, but when you're playing along at home, you'll hear the quote itself. So that might be a little bit unfair, but well. Let's play. You'll pick it up as we go. Round 1.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Clue 1. The fight scene runs about 5 minutes. Clue 2. Roddy Piper quit the WWF, now the WE, that's WWF I should say, to make the film. 3. John Carpenter directed the film. Throw your guesses up. Now, groaners, press pause, have a bit of a think, answer, then unpause. Round 2.
It's on the reflexes.
Clue 1. Kurt Russell turned down starring in Highlander to make this film. Clue 2. Kurt Russell actually had to take lessons to drive this semi-truck, or semi, as people would say in America, used in the movie. Or clue 3. Trampolines, or trampolines, were used in the final battle scene instead of traditional wire work. Go Groaners. Pause here. Have a little think. Answer. Then unpause. Round 3.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Clue 1. The film starred Andre the Giant. If you don't know who he is, he was a wrestler. Clue 2. The sword fighting scenes were performed by the actors themselves after training. And clue 3. The film is based on a novel. Go Groaners. Pause here. Have a little think. Answer. Then unpause. The answers will come later on, Groaners, but the show waits for no one as we march on to ask, why oh why? We live in 2025, do we not? You'd say we as a species are rather intelligent, yeah? So answer me this. You are warned an item is hot, and then complain when you burn your mouth on it. Now, because of people's idiocy, a popular coffee chain will no longer heat up people's muffins. What next? A ban on serving hot food anywhere because fools cannot wait and burn their mouths. Just wait until it cools a bit. 2024 to 2025 is definitely the year of the Burke. Impatient people ruining things for others. I just have to ask, why oh why? With a shake of the groan dice, we ask ourselves, do we feel lucky? Well, no, because this is part of the show that is dedicated to, unlucky! It turns out a group of house builders in Lincolnshire have had their strange quirk banned by local authorities. It turns out that they wanted to build houses but skip the number 13. Come on, it doesn't go 11, 12, 14, does it, Mr. Builder? It's amazing how many planning authorities still try to skip the number. Do you live in a house or anything with the number 13? How's your luck? Try it now, Groaners, with talking nonsense. You know this one. English flipped into reverse gibberish. You've got to guess what I'm talking about. Give you one clue per round, and then on comes the gibberish. Here we go. Round 1. Your clue is, I'm a classic tale featuring eat me and drink me. Your nonsense is, pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Round 2. Your clue is, I'm a singer, but the nonsense isn't my real name. Your nonsense is, pause here. Have a little think, Groaners. Answer, then unpause. Round 3, final round. I'm a flavour of ice cream, but I work better in jelly beans as I cover all sorts of flavours. Your nonsense is... Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. The answers will come later, Groaners, because now we hand the show over to the creepy side with admin Nicole's Creepy Corner. Your story for episode 131 is this. Truth just keeps hurting. A day that had begun with so much hope and joy. A single day of nothing going wrong and the simple chance to just enjoy themselves for a change. They should have known better. There is no respite when you're standing at the forefront of war. Nothing and no one could have made that clearer to them than the man that now stood in front of them. Viola forced Ivy behind her and told her not to move. Valencia couldn't tell whether to focus on the shattered snow globe or the man that now stood in front of them. Yet he was heavily outnumbered and powerless. What could he possibly do by showing up here on his own? I suggest you get out of here or we'll still be nice, Grim offered. The man simply laughed with a sinister grin. He had no intention to stay, but it was no rush to leave either. He looked over at Viola and demanded she hand over his daughter. Of all things to happen, they never expected the mayor to ever be freed from the snow globe. They weren't even sure if he was dead or alive inside there, but they have their answer now. Viola refused and everyone rushed to guard Ivy. She had suffered enough. They would never lose sight of her again, especially not to a monster like that. Yet the mayor kept demanding of his property back, showing no signs of actual concern to his daughter at all. The old man told the mayor to leave while he still could. Surprisingly, the mayor just turned around and began to walk away. He made it clear this was only the beginning and he had more plans for Ivy. He was in no rush, especially after finally being freed from his frozen prison. He had other steps he had to take before he needed her anyway. They all watched him walk off into the distance, but before anyone could say anything, Grim could be heard apologising. Viola asked if it was about the thing he wanted to talk about after the wedding. He told her there was no right way to explain things and it would cause more discord than they needed. Yet perhaps the time was finally right. The old man took Fawn and Ivy and went with Vega to find somewhere safe while they figured things out. Damien had to go prepare for his official ceremony. Even without a purpose yet, he still had to go through the proper system in order to accept his scythe. Valencia and Viola were left alone to follow Grim and find out what he knew. They all agreed it would be better this way, especially since the answers Grim had seemed to involve Viola. She would feel better if she only had Valencia with her. Grim stopped at a large set of white doors with golden handles. It was the most guarded room in the entire facility, and they were about to find out why. Inside were shelves full of hourglasses, all moving at their own pace. Each hourglass represented a life after all, and while they couldn't be tampered with through normal means, it still made sense to keep them as safe as possible. They walked through room after room with shelves stacked high full of hourglasses. Grim pointed out that despite the amount of hourglasses in the room, it's still significantly less than how many he had to watch over before the Great War. The population was drastically wiped out by the results of the war. No one was safe from it. At the end of the room was a golden lift. Grim hesitated to push the button, but he warned them to be especially careful of the room the lift would lead to. When the doors opened, the room was full of hourglasses like the others, but these were solid gold and empty. Names under each one, just like the others. When Valencia asked why these were so different, Grim explained that this room is a place of honour. It is a grave of sorts to honour the ones they couldn't predict. Even for death, the one type of death he can never predict is a sacrifice. The one loophole that can balance out the world's laws. If someone is supposed to die, but someone else does something that will keep them alive at the cost of their own life, then their hourglass gets moved into that room. The sand that was remaining in their hourglass will not just empty, it will transfer into the life of the one that they saved. This room is to honour those who chose to sacrifice their lives to save others. That's why they have no sand. They gave it all away to save a life, sometimes multiple times. We keep them here to honour them, yet there's another type of hourglass, only one of its kind so far. That's what I wanted to show you, what I should apologise for. Grim opened up a panel on the corner of a far wall to show an hourglass on a podium, its sand completely frozen in time. When Valencia asked what it meant, Grim told her that a small group a long time ago didn't take well to the changing of the world, and in doing so, set about destroying the person's very existence, ignoring all laws. It was a sort of personal vendetta against Grim for being what he is. One day, that very group decided to experiment messing with the laws of reality on a human. They'd already succeeded with a god, but it wasn't enough to torture Grim. In doing so, they targeted a human who would be of use in the future. She died far too soon, and Grim had to take her soul as the law goes. Her hourglass had frozen in time. The grains of sand now float forever, knowing they will never reach the bottom. The sand will never fall again. That woman was never supposed to die. It was far too soon for her. Viola felt a sense of unease as she stared at the frozen hourglass, a familiar feeling that gave her a sense of dread. Who does that hourglass belong to? Viola asked. It belongs to your mother. She may not have been alive today if her time wasn't messed with, but she would have died recently. You would have had a whole life with her. That fire was set on purpose by them. You both could have died in that fire. I couldn't intervene with your mother though. I tried to, but something was stopping me from getting close to her. I'm sure it was them. I wanted to let you be with her, but something I didn't understand then told me I had to keep you alive. I'm sorry. I know there's nothing I can do to fix things. I've been trying to track them down for a very long time now," he explained. Wow, Admin Nicole, you've done it again, especially on a cliffhanger again, with another well-written story. It'll soon be your 2-year anniversary with the show as well, Nicole. What do you think, Groaners? Shall we get her a cake? Or a cupcake? Let's hand the show over to an audience groaner now with the Audience Groan. Kyle of Newcastle verbally collared me this week to give me his groan. And he groaned, "When people leave switches on in the kitchen, etc. Electricity isn't free. Why do people do this?" A short groan, Kyle, but a very good point. I've been guilty of leaving lights on and other things many times. Drove my mum and dad up the wall. If you know myself, Admin Nicole, personally, you can hit us up verbally to give us your groans or content ideas or anything along those lines. But you can also do one of the following. You can email us at thegroanzonepod@gmail.com. You can join Facebook groups under the Groan Zone Podcast Facebook group. Find either one of us on Facebook Messenger at Mystery Groaner or Nicole Amos. Join in live on Discord at 8:30 PM Greenwich Mean Time every Friday, usually, apart from today. You can find us at the Groan Zone. You can also leave messages, etc. Lastly, you can place a comment on any platform you use to listen to the show, and we'll pick it up to see if we can feature it. However, another game finds us now with Gimme the Question. Your answer is Kit Kat for round 1. Your questions are: A. What popular treat has been around since 1898? B. Which popular treat is made by Nestle? C. Which popular treat was meant to be known as Snack Snack? Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Round 2. Your answer is Hello Kitty. Your questions are: A. Which product had their wine packaging banned in the UK last year? B. Which company got in trouble for making Hello Kitty G-strings? Or C. Which company is actually owned as a subsidiary of Nintendo? Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Round 3. Your answer is thongs. Your questions are: A. What were loom bands known as before law courts demanded a change to the kids' product? B. What are sandals known as in Australia? Or C. What was Robert Redford guilty of smuggling into the USA in the 1960s when they were banned? Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. The answers are coming, Groaners. Stay with us. It's that time to find us an idiot. We now name our Zero of the Week. Earlier this year in February, a female prankster pretended to be a marshal at an event. This sent 30 out of 115 Glasgow runners on a 2.5 kilometre detour during a race. You may laugh and think that's brilliant, but what if one of those 30 had needed medical aid but couldn't get it due to being off track? I don't know if they caught you, love, but have a word with yourself, because you're definitely a zero. Last shout for games for this episode now, Groaners, with Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. Your anagram is Arthur, that's Arthur with a U, Smyrna. Your clue is the president who shares a birthday with VE Day. Of course, next week is our 80th anniversary of VE Day special, so this answer will come then. Answers I just mentioned, so let's find out the point situation with the game answers. Starting from last week, what the hell am I from? The freaky looking bunny was from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Give me the question. Your answer was Kit Kat. Your correct question was B. Which popular treat is made by Nestle? Round 2. Your answer was Hello Kitty. Your correct question was A. Which product had their wine packaging banned in the UK last year? It happened in September 2024? Round 3. Your answer was thongs. Your correct question was B. What are sandals known as in Australia? And now the answers for talking nonsense. Round 1. Your nonsense was Alice in Wonderland. Round 2. Your nonsense was Elton John. And round 3. Your nonsense was Tutti Frutti. And lastly, the answers to our new game. Don't quote me on that. Round 1. If you knew your films, the answer to round 1 was They Live. Round 2. An 80s classic, Big Trouble in Little China. And round 3. This is a guilty pleasure film and it's an amazing film, The Princess Bride. On that last answer, Groaners, we hope you had fun and scored some points. We'll be back next week for our 80th anniversary of VA Day special. I can't say that enough. We'll see you then, Groaners. Take care. Bye-bye. Viola felt a sense of unease as she started. Viola felt a sense of unease as she started. I can't read.